We will now call the Plan Commission meeting of February 25th, 2025 to order. Roll call.
Hannah here.
Bouch here.
Shinsky here.
Lork here. David here.
Guzekowski here.
Oldani here.
Seifert here.
Chandler here.
Approval of minutes of February 11th, 2025. As standard, I'll give you a few minutes to look it over. When you're satisfied, there's no discussions. Due to corrections, errors, or omissions, do a motion.
Seifert moves to approve the minutes of February 11th, 2025.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call, beginning with Christine.
Christine. Hannah, I.
Bouch aye.
Shinsky aye.
Clark, aye.
David aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler aye.
Item 4 is review for request for conditional use permit along with conditions and restrictions for a drinking establishment at Swing and Sip, a proposed business to be located 140 East Rawson, Suite 105, 106, submitted by Jason Roberts, Lisby, and Roberts. Todd.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you may be familiar with the property here on East Rawson Avenue, just east of South Howell Avenue, is Zone B4, and it's a multi-tenant development with 3 separate buildings, Building A, B, and C. The proposal, and they are seeking a conditional use for a drinking establishment, which would be in association with their golf simulator business that will be on site. As mentioned, they'll be in Building A of the site, Suites 105, and the rear portion of Suite 106. The use will require 32 parking spaces. In the parking area to the west of Building A, there's 184 parking spaces, but it is shared parking throughout, so they have a total of 397 parking spaces on site. You may recall a site plan being approved back in 2023 for this building, which had that 397 total spaces, which was approved for an amount of parking spaces needed for the respective different tenants that may be in the site. If you look at the floor plan for the establishment, you'll see that that bar lounge area, which they're seeking the conditional use for, is a little over 2,200 square feet. The hours of operation for the business will be from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week. And they think that their typical number of customers per day will be 35, although the building max capacity could be 75 people. They expect to have 2 employees on site as well at any given time. Staff has prepared some conditions and restrictions. Some notable ones for use restrictions on site would be that one, that the use is approved in accordance with its conditions and restrictions along with city ordinances. Zoning code will be the only uses allowed. There'll be no outdoor activity or operation on site, no outdoor storage, and the hours of operation again would be between 9 a.m. and 10 p.m. Sunday through Saturday. And that the maximum number of persons allowed, including the employees, may not exceed the 75 people at any given time. As a kind of review for Plan Commission, as far as in considering of your review of the conditional use and your approval, that the following criteria should be met, and that the conditional use will not be detrimental or endanger the public health, safety, general welfare, that the conditional use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of the surrounding property for uses permitted in the district, that adequate utilities across access roads, drainage, parking, supply, internal circulation improvements, including but not limited to vehicular, pedestrian, bicycle, and other necessary site improvements have been or are being provided, Measures have been or will be taken to provide adequate ingress and egress and designed to minimize traffic congestion and to ensure public safety and adequate traffic flow, both on-site and public streets, and that the conditional use conforms to all applicable regulations of the district in which it is located. That said, the staff has prepared the following suggested motion, and the applicant is here if you have any questions.
Great. Thank you, Todd. At this time, would the applicant want to come up, say a few words before we go to the commission? Wonderful. We'll need your name and address, sir.
Yeah, my name is Jason Roberts. My address is West 173, North 8941, Roosevelt Drive in Menominee Falls. I guess the only thing really I have to say is we're just excited at the possibility of having this opportunity to be a part of Oak Creek. It's a great city, a lot of great people, so we would appreciate the consideration.
Okay, Jason, stand by. We'll go to the commission, see if there's any questions. I don't want to send you back in case you got to come back up. Christine?
I have no questions, thank you.
Steve?
Just wondering how you're gonna control the amount of people in there. Ever been a thought on going above the, what does it say, 75?
75, so a lot of it we hired a consultant out of Ohio who opens these facilities for a living. And he was, based on his obviously experience, he says no more than 35 people per day, unless you're hosting like an event or something. But I mean, ultimately, you just really got to keep a solid head count. That's up to the, the staff and the bartenders.
No further questions?
Ashley?
No questions, thank you.
Greg?
Is this your first venture? You don't own another one of these, do you?
No, sir.
Okay.
Be the first.
Do you, I guess, do you happen to have talking with the consultant, do you have kind of a thought on, will it be more busy in the evenings, I'm assuming, or are you going to focus on marketing to like business groups during the day?
Yeah, I guess a lot of thought behind that. For starters, since it's golf, you're really only busy, October through, March. But for the most part on the weekends, it'll be throughout the day. We anticipate fully being booked as long as we're doing everything right, of course. But for the most part, it's gonna be, after 4 or 5 p.m.
And then the other question for clarification, when we look at multi-tenant developments and we look at parking, we subtract the required parking from all the other businesses to determine that there's enough for this one business? Or how is that figured out? Obviously, there's over 300 or whatever you said parking spots, and they only require 30 some.
They require 32, and at this point too, there's we have a lot of empty spaces over there.
Okay.
So we can only go by what is what potentially could be there. And as stated, back in 2023, they assumed that it would be like one space per 1,500 square foot, and worked it out to be,
Okay.
and then it was approved that, well, okay, this will be enough parking for this building.
Okay. No other concerns though. Thanks.
Thanks, Greg. Chris?
I had no question.
Hey, Don?
No questions at this time.
All right. Brad?
No questions.
Chauncey?
No questions, thank you.
Okay. My question is, the golf simulator is, obviously you're going to get your swing better, that type of stuff. Do you run leagues as well? Because they do simulated leagues.
Absolutely. Yeah, leagues and tournaments, and anything beyond that, we're trying to do as much as we can. But
Okay.
Yep.
No, I don't have a lot either. It's a welcome addition to Oak Creek. We don't have anything like it, so, if you pass here, I wish you success.
awesome, I appreciate it. All set?
If there's no further questions or discussions, motion on 4.
Seifert moves that the planning commission recommends that the town council approves a conditional use permit for drinking establishment for suites 105, 106 on the property at 140 East Rawson Avenue after a public hearing and subject to conditions and restrictions.
Oldani seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Steve.
Bajai.
Kupczynski, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Bekavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Hold aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, I.
Hannah, I.
Yep, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Item 5, review architectural plans for exterior modifications to Texas Roadhouse, an existing business at 1489 West Broderick Place, submitted by Marissa Coleman, Greenberg Farrow. Todd again.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, as you're familiar with the property that's on Drexel, West Drexel, between 13th and I-94, and has existing restaurant, the Texas Roadhouse restaurant, on it. And they had already installed screens and a screen door to enclose the outdoor patio eating area of the restaurant. So here they are seeking approval for those modifications. Real quick, here's just the view. If you haven't seen it, this is what, because the screens can be retracted, so they could be in either a down or up position. So here they are. This is what it would look like when the screens are up. You can still see the screen door, the dark door here. And then here are the screens lowered. So that's what it would look like, or what it looks like with the screens lowered. So staff has prepared the following suggested motion. And I believe the applicant's here for questions as well.
Excellent. Once again, I'll invite the applicant up if they want to say anything or wait on questions.
Good evening. Nick Kalinsky. I'm the managing partner at the Texas Roadhouse, address 11906 West Hayes Avenue in West Dallas. Yeah, we would love to have these approved. Just as you know, in Wisconsin, it gets 20 minutes. It can change from beautiful to rainy or windy or sunny or whatever it might be. So it's great for our guests because it can happen within a dining where it could change, where we might need to lower them or raise them accordingly for their comfort level, particularly on weekends when it's a little bit busier, when we can utilize that space, especially in summertime.
Stand by. We'll go to the commission. Jossie?
I do have a question for the applicant. Could you share more details about the materials, the ground floor materials that are being used?
Yeah, they're mainly vinyl with like plastic that you can see through. So they're each on their own motors. It's a real simple process to just go up, just go down. And yeah, as far as I know, they're fire retardant. They're pretty standard operating. The folks that installed them do, hundreds of these to restaurants, to patios.
And so I do have another question about the suggested materials. So they should be some type of stone, wood, etc. Could you provide a little more information about that?
Yeah, I mean, per code, on the ground floor level, as you mentioned, it should be wood, masonry, or veneer cement brick, I believe. But certainly with 3/4 vote from Plan Commission, this can be approved as the material, given that it's a retractable screen. A little different from what, say, if it was a stationary, wall.
Okay, thank you.
Fred?
No questions.
Don?
No questions.
Chris?
I think it looks good and a nice addition for extending the season or not extending.
It's gonna be 52 degrees on Friday.
Yeah, there you go.
No questions.
No questions.
Good, no questions.
Christine?
Yes, I have a question. Todd, can you bring back the picture that you just had? So in the right picture, the door, is that the entrance or the exit door?
That would be an exit door. I mean, it could be an entrance, but the entrance to the main is just to the right of that. So that would be like a fire door.
I'm just going to ask for emergency, so course, everything now gonna be locked with that, material, I don't know. So this is gonna be like the,
Yeah, absolutely, yep.
and it's gonna be signed as such, so people know where to go.
Yeah, the door has a big red sign on it, emergency door.
Okay, how about the ventilation? How is gonna be aired?
I wouldn't say that it's not sealed like on the bottom of the retractable screens. It still provides airflow. There are vents, there ventilation system in the ceiling as well. There are fans as well. So yeah,
Oh, it's not totally.
correct. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
people can still. Okay, that's it, thank you.
Okay, is this Texas Roadhouse in Oak Creek? Is that just a Texas Roadhouse?
Yeah, that's ours. Yep.
Yours?
Yep.
Installed them already?
They were installed. Our builder set them up to be installed, and as of about a month ago, I realized that they were not approved 2 years ago. So
Yeah, I mean, technically it doesn't meet the zoning
Yeah, I believe it came to our attention as well when I think it was fire department was doing inspection.
That-
I think when fire department was doing an inspection, it was brought to our attention that they were there.
That could have been as well.
Could have been.
Okay. No, I understand the need, no doubt about it. A lot of this is done through garage doors, standard stuff like that. It's one of the, it's probably one of the better installs. Certainly doesn't look like glass. Hard to retract glass. So this door I'm looking at, if everybody has this picture up, it's my left, probably your right. That fire door. Is fire okay with that? I mean, would you have to crawl under that to get out of that half door?
Well, yeah, I mean, the fire department reviewed the plan and had no concerns. So I think they were using, as the applicant mentioned, the door, like the full door, has on the back side of it has a big red bar. It's like emergency exit. So that would be the way out. But they expressed no concerns about the half door on the south. I guess that would be. Is that in the south? I think
Yeah.
it's on that
Yep.
faces like
Yep.
Drexel, I think.
Okay.
Ish.
I'm no expert at it, just wondering if okay, I certainly understand the need. You guys are packed. You're wildly successful here in Oak Creek, and thankful to have you. Without a doubt, I think going forward, at least from the city of Oak Creek, we had similar requests somewhat. This really, don't get me wrong, I'm poking at it, but it's built to a permanent structure. So there's a permanent awning and post in place. We've had other people want to do like temporary awnings, plastic. That was a big no-go. But this would actually be the standard I'm looking for. So going forward, I would just suggest to staff that we look at this. As our temperatures are getting nicer here in February at 50 degrees, guess that's all I got. I just make sure I was understanding everything correctly. So, is there any other questions or discussions?
Yes, actually, I do have a question. Since you mentioned that short door, is there any, your designer, can they split that big screen into 3 portions or 3 parcels, however you want to call it, in a way they can all go up and down? So if this lower door want to be pushed out, it can be like pulled up that rendering or that material, so it will be used as an exit or.
Gotcha. So the
Emergency.
picture on the left, the
Yes.
door facing the, I do not know that. Yeah.
Yes.
Answer.
So it's
I'd
a
have to check
possibility.
on that.
I would assume you'd have to redo the whole installation because each section would need its own motor, controller to bring it up. I don't have a problem with the half door in any way, shape, or form, because if it's summertime and they're open, we're fine. It's just an emergency, whether they're split in three or not. Chances are there ain't, in the panic, you may not open them. So, difference. I don't know, if fire didn't have a problem with it, they are the experts. I would defer to them. I don't know. Good thought. Okay. Any other questions or discussions? Okay. Seeing none, motion.
York moves to approve architectural plans for exterior modifications to Texas Roadhouse, an existing business located at 1489 West Broadwick Place, with the following conditions: that all relevant code requirements, conditions of the plan unit development, and plans approved by the Plan Commission on February 10th, 2022 remain in effect.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call, beginning with Ashley.
Chinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Kavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Hold aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
And I.
Ouch, aye.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Next, we're on to item 6, and it's a site plan review and related plans for various site modifications to the property at 190 West Marquette Avenue, submitted by Pete Erickson of Oak Creek Wood Products. Not again.
Turn this on. I can hear me. You may recall this property back in December, or this applicant, I should say, came forward for a conditional use permit for outdoor storage on site, and part of the condition then was to build a fence to be surrounding and screening that. So here they are with their seeking approval for the construction of that fence. The fence, which is in line with what they had proposed for their conditional use, is a combination of 6 and 8 foot chain link fence. Portion that's 8 feet being 200 feet here along the north parcel line, and then turning till it meets a cantilever gate, and then it transitions to 6 feet. And the fence will have privacy slats in it. From First Street, it's set back 15 feet, practically right up along the property line to the north, about a half foot. Set back there, 17 feet from the rear, which is the west, and 120 feet set back from West Marquette Avenue. Installing this fence is going to conflict with their existing parking layout. It would have removed parking spaces that are required, and they are required to have 25 parking spaces, so they reconfigured their parking area as well to have 32 parking spaces, and also provide for the appropriate width for the dimensions of the spaces and dimensions for the aisles as well. In the parking, you can kind of see a view here from the southwest of like what actually this would be from like northeast looking southwest as to how the fence perimeter will be laid out. And they've provided a rendering. The top photo and the photo left lower are both rendering, photos showing, images showing what the fence will look like, and then in the lower right is the actual product itself, the fence showing the slats in it. I believe the applicant is here as well if you have any questions. Otherwise, staff has prepared the following suggested motion.
Thank you, Todd. As normal, if the applicant wants to come up, answer questions, statement before we go to the commission. Welcome. Just need your name and address, please.
Pete Erickson, Vice President at Oak Creek Wood, 190 West Marquette.
Elaborate on anything or just wait on questions?
I really think it's just a follow-up to our original conditional use that to enclose the property with a fence with some privacy slats. I should clean up that corner a little bit more. We're continue to work on it.
Right, yeah, it's looking good, but we'll see what the commission will say. Christine?
No, actually, I agree. It looks very clean and good. I like the slats for privacy too, so looks good. Thank you.
thing I got is just to make sure that the fence continues to be maintained
Mhm.
the years.
No questions.
No questions.
Chris?
Looks good. Thank you.
Don?
No questions.
Fred?
No questions.
And Chauncey?
No questions. Thank you.
I have none either. That is a lot of fence. It's the great fence of Oak Creek, I guess. It's incredible. No, I have none. I just want to really applaud you for taking pride in your property, not only to protect it, but to hit city standards, because it's a sizable investment. Glad you're here and you're cooperating with the city.
Thank you for having us.
There's no further discussion. Motion.
Lork moves to approve site and related plans for various site modifications to the property located at 190 West Marquette Avenue with the following conditions. One, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Greg.
Lork, aye.
Kavich, aye.
Kuzikowski, aye.
Goldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
And I.
Pouch, aye.
Kuczynski, aye.
Okay, thank you very much, Pete. Item 7 is review of a certified survey map dividing the property at 7655 South 6th Street, submitted by Scott Lawston, Keller, Inc.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, so this property, which is on South 6th Street, a bit north of Drexel here, shown in the site map, but also shown in its current state in the inset photo. Zoned M1, they are proposing a CSM to divide the existing parcel, which is 10.69 acres, into 2 lots, 2 parcels. We have their draft CSM here on the screen, which would, again, like I said, create 2 lots. Lot 1, which would contain all the existing improvements on site, the building, the parking lot would all just be on that lot, and it would be about a little over 5 acres, 5.28 acres. Lot 2, which is actually to the north there, is undeveloped right now. It is heavily wooded currently. The reason for their CSM is to develop Lot 2, and that would be to develop it with a little over just under 62,000 square foot warehouse building primarily for red wall printing. Something that should be noted is that in creating this CSM, Lot 1, which currently exceeds the green space requirement, which is 30% for the city. The green space there would be reduced to 18%, while Lot 2, provided that the concept, happens, that would have 44% green space. The 2 combined would be 31% green space. It should also be noted that in developing Lot 2, there would be a removal of multiple trees, 174 trees that were identified in a report as to meeting the tree preservation requirement for the city, meaning that at chest height they exceed 12 inches in diameter. And per our code as well, if you're removing those trees, you're required to replace those trees. And in this case, with the mix of how many are 12 to 29 inch versus exceeding 29 inch in diameter, they would be required to plant 528 trees on site as a remedy for this. But they're unable to accommodate that many trees on site. So in lieu of the developer not being able to meet that condition of the preservation, and with 3/4 majority vote of Plan Commission, a development agreement will be drafted to outline the compensation for the lost trees that will be then approved by, or for approval from Common Council. I've included that condition in the suggested motion, requiring that development agreement to be in place prior to the certified survey map being recorded. Otherwise, again, the applicant is here for questions, and we have the suggested motion as I alluded to.
Great, thank you, Todd. Does the applicant want to say anything or just wait on any particular questions?
Hi, Scott Lawston, 1550 Hillside Road, Slinger, Wisconsin, with Keller. I'm here just for questions.
Okay, great. Start to my right. Commissioner Chandler.
I do have a question about the development agreement. So that will be created? Or has that already been identified?
Yeah, that is yet to be
items?
drafted. So that will be drafted by the city attorney.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Brad?
Yeah, about the trees that are removing. How many trees, that there's 100 and some trees that you're gonna remove?
Yeah, roughly 176.
174 was what the
I see
report stated.
174. Did not see that. Okay. And you're gonna replace them with 528 trees?
Yeah, no, they are unable to accommodate the planting of those trees. So in lieu of that is where we would come in with the development agreement, as to figure out and outline compensation instead of planting the trees.
Thank you.
Don?
So what kind of compensation are we talking about?
You want me to? Yeah. I mean, it has been monetary, but it hasn't been determined.
It's already been
It has
determined.
not been
It
determined.
has not
Oh,
been
it's
determined.
Has not been, okay.
Right.
All right. So
Up to
that's-
discussion.
Let negotiations begin, I
And
guess.
that's what will be called out in the development
Uh,
agreement, is a proposal will be provided in the development agreement. And then that's up to the council whether to accept that or modify the compensation.
Okay, well, I guess that's the business between the common council and the attorney. Okay, I was just,
And we won't, and I
This
mean,
is the first.
the CSM won't be recorded or can't be recorded by us until that's set.
okay, yeah, 528. Okay, all right, that was really the only question, was about that agreement. I kind of wanted to know more about that. That's my only question at this time.
Hey, Chris?
I have no questions.
Brad?
Is this additional parcel, once it's separated, going to be owned by the same people? I know
Yes.
there was a cross easement agreement that was required or something.
Yep, it'd be owned by the same people.
Okay. So as far as the green space, same owner, the combined green space overall is over 30%, so I don't have much concern there. As far as the trees, obviously it's a wooded lot and you own it, so it's your right to develop it. They're gonna come forward with a site plan, landscape plan.
Correct.
So there is some areas that they can plant trees on the site.
Yeah, we've provided landscape plans, so we are planting some trees, and we're also preserving as many as we can on the site, so.
Okay. And I understand that the compensation in the development agreement, is that money used to plant trees elsewhere in the city?
Well, to be negotiated, and to state this is kind of a newer
Sure.
code for the city, and so this is kind of the first time we're embarking on this.
So I mean, I guess the only thing I would
Remedy.
say to that is, I think we still are considered a tree city in Oak Creek. So I would definitely push for any monetary compensation to allow for tree planting elsewhere in the city to kind of make up for that. And then preferably push a little harder on the green space that will be there to be landscaped pretty well to kind of make up for it. Other than that, I don't have concerns about the development.
Yeah, Greg, just to piggyback on that, we have been kicking this around at kind of our internal SLT meetings. And one thing that Matt Trepetowski brought up as the Director of Public Works is some concern about capacity of Public Works and how many trees, you know, if there is a financial contribution to go towards tree planting, Matt did just bring up two initial, you know, off the cuff comments. One, capacity of staff to plant, and two, where do we put those trees? He did bring up there's just not much room in the city where the city could plant trees. So things that definitely need to be considered by the Common Council as we dig into this in further detail. Yep.
Yeah, and I don't know it seems the 44% on the adjacent lot, if there's any capacity there to plant anything, if it's the same owner, so.
Yeah, I think that the site plan shows a few new trees being planted, but as Scott mentioned, they're preserving quite a bit, but.
They're showing on their site, because they have submitted already, and they will be in the March 11th for their site plan. I mean, they show trees as they should for their landscaping requirements in the parking area and so forth, and then they show the trees that they're, you know, existing trees that they're keeping.
Okay,
But
thank you.
Yeah, Ashley?
Understanding that this isn't a site plan review, but having seen the initial site plans, we did see an item that it may be applicable to add to the CSM, that being the outlet structure for that stormwater pond is currently being shown on City of Oak Creek property, which it isn't a drainage way, so we do understand directing the water in that direction. Our concern is with that outlet structure being on city property, confusion down the road as to ownership and maintenance of that. To the common eye, you'd look at that and say, okay, that's the City of Oak Creek to own, maintain, whatnot. But in reality, we somehow need to, if it's an easement or something, just showing the maintenance and ownership responsibility of that parcel. And typically too, when you have an outfall like that, you see riprap, whatnot, that goes down, which tends to need regular maintenance. So it's just a matter of accessing that city property and maybe looking into putting an easement or something on the city's property in order to maintain that structure.
Need that condition.
We can work with, you know, but if we'd like to note it as a condition just to work with staff. I mean, because they have not gone through the stormwater management plan review, so things could potentially change with configuration and location of that outfall, but if it does remain as currently shown, we would like to make sure something is included. Additionally, and this is probably more for site plan, that given those green space percentages, it would be nice to document somewhere that the current configuration as proposed, if that is approved, that no additional pavement impervious surface would be added with any kind of future expansion or projects.
You?
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Steve?
Only thing I have is just the tree, going back to the tree thing, I'd really like to see those trees planted somewhere in the city. Sure, there's gotta be some open area someplace.
Ian?
Yes, so with the removal of all those trees, is there any wetland in this area has been impacted at all?
No, we
No,
did
no
wetland
wetland.
delineation, there's no wetlands.
There was no, I'm sorry?
No wetlands.
Okay. All right, that's all. And I agree with Steve that and others that we need the trees somewhere else. I'm sure we can find a spot here or there by the schools. I'm sure they will enjoy that.
Okay. I guess my comments, again, it is a CSM. Ashley's notes duly noted, so we probably should put it in there. Staff can continue to work on that. We're not going to try to engineer that here. just to touch on the trees, you know, we did our zoning ordinance and we put that in place, and it's worked in some smaller applications. Some, not so much. Go back, this is basically a grove of trees that over the years has kind of self-planted itself. I don't know, not an arborist, but some of the trees in there, the value of them is whatever. They may be transplants or sprouts from something else. It's basically unusable, and quite frankly, it'll probably choke itself out over time. So, it probably would have needed to be cut at some point here or there. It's neither here nor there. It is our ordinance, and as we're working through this, we're finding that we can't cover every base and be 100% on everything. That's why we're working through this. When you have a situation such as this, or something else, and you go to put 500 trees somewhere, for every action, there's a reaction. Christy touched on that. Staff's capacity to maintain, trim these trees, and where they go in public spaces, without getting into vision triangles, everything else that exists within the city. There's probably a place for some of them, without a doubt. I do agree that this could go into forestry budget. If there's some kind of development agreement, whether with this one or a future user, we can figure that out. As far as the canopy goes in Oak Creek, we are a tree city. You are correct. And we're a very healthy tree city. Our canopy, by taking out a handful of trees and not putting in another 500, isn't going to endanger us from probably losing that. Our canopy is very, very healthy here in Oak Creek, contrary to popular belief, because we do usually require this green space. And you look at all our boulevards, you look around Drexeltown Square, you know, we got residents screaming to take trees out because they're pushing up their sidewalks. So there's a yin and a yang to everything. But I think we can work through this one. And it's also a patch of trees that the general public never gets to enjoy. Nobody's going into an industrial park, picnic in the woods. You know, so how they wound up there, I don't particularly know. But, you know, we'll work through it as we go through. This was one that just kind of was the tip of the iceberg point. So, other than that, yeah, anywhere we can improve green space, you know, the Greg suggestion, anywhere we can beef it up, all for it without a doubt. Even if that's not trees, but prairie grass, things of that, butterfly bushes, a lot of different things we can do with smarter arborists, cultural people than me. So, that's all I really got to say. If there's no other questions or look for a motion.
Clerk moves to recommend to the Common Council that the certified survey map to divide the property at 7655 South 6th Street be approved with the following conditions. Number one, that all technical corrections, including but not limited to spelling errors, minor coordinate geometry corrections, and corrections required for compliance with the municipal code and Wisconsin statutes are made prior to recording. Two, that a cross-access and maintenance agreement between Lot 1 and Lot 2 is executed and recorded by the Milwaukee County Register of Deeds prior to the issuing of any permits. Three, that a development agreement between the City of Oak Creek and the property owner is in place outlining compensation for modifying the city's tree preservation requirements prior to issuing of any permits and prior to recording the certified survey map with the Milwaukee County Register of Deeds. And then we need a fourth one for the outfall, is that right? And then a fourth condition, work with staff regarding notation of the outfall on the CSM.
Hold on 20 seconds.
Okay. Roll call, beginning with myself. Aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
Hold on, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Anna, aye.
Ouch, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Item 6, review a request to rezone the property located at 10523 South Howell Avenue from A1 Limited Agriculture to M1 Manufacturing District, submitted by the City of Oak Creek. Christie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The city recently purchased, had the opportunity to purchase this parcel It's zoned A1 Limited Agricultural District. There was a house on it. The previous developer owner has since demolished the home. And this is abutting Oakview Business Park. Obviously, the city has worked very hard over the years to ensure success of businesses within Oakview Business Park, and make it an icon for industrial uses and headquarters and all sorts of different uses in the business park. So when the city had the opportunity to purchase this in December, in order to prepare land for future development for the remaining very visible corner at Oakview and Howell, the city is going to move forward, or is moving forward as an applicant to rezone this one particular parcel from A1 to M1 manufacturing district. So again, zoned A1 with the gray color parcel highlighted here, and then proposal is to rezone that, or excuse me, zone it to M1 manufacturing, which is very consistent with the rest of the parcels in Oakview Business Park. A public hearing could be scheduled as early as March 31st for this particular item, and the suggested motion is before you.
Okay, thank you, Christy. Jossie, you want to start us out? Anything?
No questions, thank you.
Brad?
No questions.
Don?
No questions.
Chris?
No question.
Greg?
No questions.
Ashley?
No questions.
Steve?
No questions.
No questions.
Okay, no, pretty straightforward. Nothing. Motion on 8.
Seifert moves that the planning commission recommends to the common council that the property at 10523 South Hall Avenue is rezoned from A1 Limited Agricultural District to M1 Manufacturing District after a public hearing.
Hold on 2 seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Chris.
Guzekowski, aye.
Hold on, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
And I.
Bouch, aye.
Kupczynski, aye.
Lorik, aye.
Gavich, aye. Item 9 is review of a request to amend an existing Oakview Business Park Plan Unit Development by adding the property at 10523 South Howell Avenue. Christy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're talking about the same parcel here. The Oakview Business Park Planned Unit Development and Manufacturing Zoning was established in 2013. And so in 2013, this particular parcel was kept out. So you can see the map here was kept out because it was, it was privately owned and operating as a limited agricultural type of use with the previous homeowner. And fast forward, obviously, as mentioned, the city now owns this parcel, and in preparation to get this land available for any sort of future user, this one particular parcel needs to be added to that original planned unit development. This does require a public hearing as the rezoning and ordinance amendment, and it is consistent with the comprehensive land use plan, which identifies this parcel as business park. With that, the suggested motion is before you.
Thank you, Christy. Same property, Christine?
I have no questions.
Steve?
No questions.
Ashley?
No questions.
Greg?
No questions.
Chris?
No questions.
Don?
No questions.
Fred?
No questions.
Jossie?
No questions, thank you.
I have none either. So, motion on 9.
Oldani moves that the Plan Commission recommends to the Common Council that the existing Oakview Business Park planned unit development be amended by adding the property at 10523 South Howell Avenue after a public hearing.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Don.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
And I.
Bouch, aye.
Kupczynski, aye.
Lorik, aye.
Kavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Okay, and item 10 is a certified survey map subdividing and reconfiguring the properties at 10304 South Oakwood Parkway and 10523 South Howell Avenue and once again submitted by the city of Oak Creek. Christine?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So to the north of the parcel that we were just discussing, the city does own that parcel as well. We've owned it since 2022. So in an effort to better reconfigure the land for any future business park type of user in this area, the city is proposing and has hired a surveyor to draft a certified survey map to reconfigure the lot lines and create 2 lots. Lot 1 would become 29 acres, and then Lot 2 would be just shy of 11 acres. Both would have access off of Oakview Parkway, and with that, the suggested motion, this would also go before Common Council. We would hold it the same evening as the public hearing, which could be as soon as March 31st. With that, the recommendation is before you.
Great, thank you, Christy. Commissioner Chandler, anything?
No questions, thank you.
Fred?
No questions.
Don?
Nothing here. Thank you.
Chris?
Nothing here.
Craig?
Is this, I guess, is it being subdivided around the wetlands? Was that like strategically placed around that area of wetlands?
Yes. And then there would still be room to develop on Lot 2 as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Ashley?
No questions.
No questions.
Dan?
Just one question. Is there going to be access from Oakwood Road?
No, actually, not access on Oakwood Road. You can see the hatched area in the very north that says no access per CSM.
All right, no questions, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I have none myself. So, there's no further discussion. Motion.
Clerk moves to recommend to the Common Council that the certified survey map subdividing and reconfiguring the properties at 10304 South Oakview Parkway and 10523 South Howell Avenue be approved with the following condition: that all technical corrections, including but not limited to spelling errors, minor coordinate geometry corrections, and corrections required for compliance with the municipal code and Wisconsin statutes, are made prior to recording.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call. Fred?
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
And I.
Ouch, aye.
Jinsky, aye.
Kavich, aye.
Guzekowski.
Goldani, aye.
Okay. That'll get us to adjournment. We're halfway through February. Oh, we're done with February action.
Oh, yeah.
It's our last one for February, so we're coming up on spring. So it feels like spring out there, but I don't think winter's quite over, unfortunately. But it's been a nice run. Anything else? I don't think the city has anything really cooking right now. Okay. If there's no further announcements, motion to adjourn.
Seifert moves for adjournment at 6:52.
Clark seconds.
Roll call. Chauncey?
Chandler, aye.
And I.
Ouch, aye.
Jinsky, aye.
Clark, aye.
Kavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldahani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Okay, good night, everybody. Thanks if you are one of those streaming in.
Okay.
Have a great week.